The story revolves around Linda, a woman whose life slowly slips out of her control without her even realizing when it first begins. At the surface, Linda appears confident, attractive, and successful, but deep inside, she is carrying emotional scars that never truly healed. From the very beginning, the film makes it clear that this is not a glamorous rise to fame story, but a painful journey of manipulation, silence, and survival. Linda is first shown working in the adult film industry. Her movies are popular, people recognize her face, and she earns attention wherever she goes. Yet none of this brings her happiness. She looks emotionally drained, disconnected, and empty, as if she is living a life she never chose. Through interviews and quiet moments, we sense that something terrible happened to her in the past, something that pushed her onto this path. The film then takes us back to show how everything began. At that time, Linda was living a relatively normal life. One day, when the housemaid was absent, Linda and her close friend were relaxing near the swimming pool, talking casually. During an interview later, Linda becomes uncomfortable when questions turn personal. She avoids talking about her past, especially an incident from a year earlier that left her deeply traumatized. That incident made her fearful of relationships and emotionally distant, even from the boyfriend she had at the time. Linda's life at home is far from peaceful. Her husband, who appears strict and conservative, constantly questions her movements and choices. One evening, he comes home earlier than expected and interrogates her aggressively, making her feel trapped and uncomfortable. His tone isn't caring, it's controlling. This is the first hint that Linda is already living inside an invisible cage. Later, Linda goes skating with her friend. For the first time in a while, she seems alive. She performs confidently, and the moment feels freeing. That night, they go to a club filled with loud music, flashing lights, and bold dancers on stage. Linda is hesitant at first, unsure if she belongs in such a place, but the environment slowly pulls her in. Encouraged by her friend, she steps onto the stage and starts dancing. Something shifts inside her, fear mixes with excitement. That is when Chuck enters the story. He notices Linda immediately. His gaze isn't casual, it's observant and calculating. He approaches them confidently and tells them they have potential. He suggests that they could dance professionally and make serious money. Linda laughs it off, doubting anyone would actually pay to watch her. Chuck leans in and confidently tells her that people would pay a lot just to see her. Over time, Chuck becomes a regular presence in Linda's life. He is charming, confident, and speaks with certainty, something Linda isn't used to. Unlike her husband, Chuck listens, jokes, and makes her feel seen. Slowly, a friendship forms. One night, Chuck invites Linda to a party. When Linda prepares to leave, her husband notices and starts asking questions: whose party it is, who she's going with, and when she'll return. His suspicion turns into anger, and he sends her friend away, reinforcing how restrictive his mindset is. As Linda spends more time with Chuck, she begins to feel a contrast between the two men in her life. Her husband feels dull, rigid, and controlling, while Chuck seems exciting, understanding, and emotionally available. They talk about movies, dreams, and life. Into the night. Linda starts feeling something she hasn't felt in a long time: freedom. One night, Chuck offers to drop Linda home. During the drive, he notices how unusually quiet she is. When he asks what's wrong, Linda finally opens up. She reveals that a year ago, she accidentally got pregnant. Instead of receiving support, her maid forced her to terminate the pregnancy. The experience broke her emotionally, leaving her afraid of intimacy and new relationships. She admits she wanted to take things slowly with anyone she got close to after that. Chuck surprises her by saying none of it matters to him. He tells her he accepts her past and wants to meet her parents. Linda hesitates, unsure how her family would react, but Chuck confidently assures her they will like him. He even jokingly bets that if they don't, he'll spend the night sleeping on their terrace. When Chuck finally meets Linda's parents, he mentions that he served in the army. This immediately impresses Linda's father, who also has a military background. Chuck exaggerates stories to appear more heroic, not out of malice, but out of desperation to be accepted. The visit goes smoothly, strengthening Linda's trust in him. Later that evening, while Linda's parents are watching television, Chuck and Linda find themselves alone in the kitchen. The emotional closeness turns physical, and they share an intimate moment. Soon after, Chuck takes Linda out to watch a movie and later brings her to his place. As they grow closer, Linda becomes insecure about scars on her body. She feels ashamed and vulnerable. Chuck gently reassures her, telling her she is beautiful exactly as she is. For Linda, those words mean everything. But reality crashes back quickly. One night, Linda comes home late, and her husband explodes with rage. He beats her violently, crossing a line that cannot be undone. In that moment, something inside Linda breaks. She packs her things, leaves the house, and seeks refuge with Chuck. What feels like an escape soon becomes the beginning of something far darker. At first, living with Chuck feels safe. But cracks slowly appear. Chuck enjoys parties, alcohol, cigarettes, and a lifestyle Linda is unfamiliar with. He pushes her to adapt, telling her she just needs practice. He encourages her to do things she is uncomfortable with, claiming it will make her stronger and more confident. Linda doesn't enjoy it, but she complies because she wants to keep him happy. Despite the discomfort, they grow closer and eventually decide to get married. Linda believes she has finally found stability. But soon after the wedding, Chuck is arrested. Linda rushes to the police station in disbelief. There, she learns that Chuck is involved in supplying dancers and has links to prostitution. He defends himself calmly, saying they need money and there's nothing wrong with what he does. Financial pressure mounts. Chuck insists they must do something drastic. He takes Linda to a production company and pushes her to audition for an adult film. The director initially criticizes Linda harshly, calling her unsuitable. Then Chuck shows them a private recorded intimate video of himself and Linda. Watching it changes everything. The producers immediately see potential and agree to cast her. Linda doesn't fully understand what she's agreeing to, but the decision is already made. Part 2. Once the shooting begins, everything moves fast. Linda is nervous, unsure of herself, and emotionally overwhelmed. But as the cameras roll, something unexpected happens. Her performance shocks everyone on set. Even the male actor opposite her struggles to match her intensity. The crew, the director, and the producers are all impressed. Linda, who once doubted herself, starts receiving praise she never imagined. As the film progresses, photoshoots begin. At first, Linda feels uncomfortable posing for posters and promotional material, but the photographer carefully explains how her character has evolved and how the visuals must reflect that transformation. When Linda finally sees her photos, she is surprised. For the first time, she finds herself beautiful. That feeling is addictive. The movie is released and becomes a massive hit. Interviews, media attention, and public recognition follow. Linda's face is everywhere. But behind the scenes, she learns a bitter truth. Despite the film's huge success, she is being paid very little. Chuck, along with investors and producers, is making most of the money. Still, Linda holds on to hope. She dreams of becoming a real movie star, believing this is just the beginning. Through industry events, she meets influential people, including a magazine editor who promises to help her transition into mainstream cinema. Years pass, but those promises slowly fade. Roles stop coming. Interest dies down. Eventually, Linda steps away from films altogether. The story then shifts into the present, where Linda is shown writing a book. As she writes, the film dives into deeper flashbacks, revealing the full truth of her marriage. Chuck never loved Linda the way she believed. He forced her into situations she didn't want, controlled every decision, and used her body as a source of income. He disguised abuse as guidance and manipulation as love. When Linda once tried to escape and return to her parents' home, hoping for safety, she was met with rejection. Her mother blamed her, reminding her of a past pregnancy that brought shame to the family. She was told that a woman's place is with her husband, no matter what he does. That moment crushed Linda completely. With nowhere else to go, she returned to Chuck. The abuse escalates. Chuck forces her into more films, more parties, and more compromises. One night, after refusing to cooperate, Linda is taken to a hotel where several men assault her as punishment. It is framed as a lesson. Broken and terrified, she tries to escape, injuring herself in the process. When police pass by, Chuck pretends everything is normal. Linda stays silent, knowing no one would believe her. That night changes everything. Linda realizes that if she stays, she will lose herself completely. She plans her escape carefully and disappears without a trace. Chuck searches for her but fails. Years pass. Linda rebuilds her life quietly. She has a child and finds peace away from the spotlight. Eventually, her book detailing her life, abuse, and survival is approved for publication. It becomes successful and sparks conversations across the country. Linda appears on television interviews, where she is asked why she stayed silent for so long. She answers honestly. She explains that society teaches women to endure, to obey, and to sacrifice themselves for others. She says she was young, scared, and conditioned to believe that what happened to her was normal. But her past does not define her entire life. Linda's parents watch the interview. For the first time, they understand their failure. Overcome with guilt, Hey, reach out to her. After years of distance, they reunite, forgive one another, and heal together as a family. The film ends with a powerful message: sometimes life feels completely out of our control, and suffering seems endless. But time moves forward, and change is always possible. No matter how late it seems, personal transformation can still happen. Linda's story is not just about pain, it's about survival, courage, and reclaiming one's voice.